A man who walked away from $6 million is somewhere at the bottom of the Pacific Ocean. His killer bought 150 pounds of lead weights the day after he disappeared. And the boat had a different name when they found it. Stay with me, because the detail that breaks this case wide open isn't in the ocean. It's in a coin shop in Phoenix, Arizona. In 1999, Bison Dele, born Brian Williams, won an NBA championship with the Chicago Bulls. He was 6 feet 11 inches, gifted, and completely uninterested in what came next. The Detroit Pistons offered him $36 million to keep playing. He turned it down flat. Said the game didn't feed his soul. He wanted the world instead. By 2002, he'd bought a 55-foot luxury catamaran, the Hakuna Matata, and was sailing the South Pacific with his girlfriend, Serena Carlin, and their skipper, Bertrand Saldo. A man living completely off the grid, entirely by choice. No contract, no team, no paper trail. And that last part, the no paper trail part, is going to matter. Because there was a fourth person on that boat, Bison's own brother, Miles DeBoard. And before we go any further, remember that name, because in a few minutes, he's going to walk into a coin shop and make the single biggest mistake of his life. But before we get to Phoenix, we need to talk about what happened on that boat, and what investigators found when they finally stepped aboard will make your skin crawl. For 2 days, the trip was everything it was supposed to be. Satellite calls home, crystal clear water, total peace, Bison sounding happier than he had in years. Then, July 8th. The signal stops. No distress call. No mayday. No final transmission. The Hakuna Matata simply disappears. Days later, a boat is spotted drifting off Tahiti. Investigators approach and immediately notice something wrong. The name on the hull has been painted over, crudely, hastily. Someone had found paint mid-ocean and brushed out every letter of Hakuna Matata. In its place, 2 new words, Aria Bella. Sit with that for a second. Not a clerical change, not a flag dispute. Someone physically climbed onto that hull in the middle of the Pacific and erased the identity of that boat. Because the name was evidence. When investigators step aboard, they find no crew, no bodies, just a cabin that's been scrubbed and patched holes in the fiberglass that are consistent with bullet impacts. 3 people, no bodies, a renamed boat, bullet holes in the hull. Now here's where it gets strange, because while investigators are standing on that deck trying to figure out what happened, someone is already trying to make sure they never find out. And they left a trail. Phoenix, Arizona, a coin shop. A man walks in carrying Bison Dele's passport and Bison Dele's checkbook. He wants $152,000 in gold bullion, untraceable, portable, no questions asked. It isn't Bison. It's Miles DeBoard, the brother, the 4th passenger, the only person who came back. When investigators close in, DeBoard has a story ready. He says Bison went mad at sea, killed Serena, killed the skipper, that Miles only acted in self-defense, that he had no choice. It sounds almost plausible, until you look at the timeline. Because in the days immediately after the disappearance, before anyone even knew those 3 people were missing, Miles DeBoard was on surveillance camera buying 150 pounds of lead weights. Not rope, not supplies, lead weights. The kind you attach to something when you need it to stay on the bottom of the ocean floor permanently. Those weights were never found on the boat. They were never found anywhere. So Miles DeBoard has Bison's passport, Bison's money, 150 pounds of missing lead, and a self-defense story with no witnesses to contradict it. The FBI is closing in, and Miles DeBoard knows it. What he does next is either the act of a guilty man running or a desperate man who had already lost everything. Either way, it ends the case before it ever gets to trial. Miles DeBoard fled to Mexico. Days later, he was found in a coma, a self-administered insulin overdose. He never regained consciousness. The only witness, the only person who knew where those weights went, gone. No trial, no testimony, no deathbed confession. Here is what the evidence tells us. 3 people were murdered on that boat. The hull was scrubbed, the name was painted over, and 150 pounds of lead were purchased specifically to make sure the bodies were never recovered. The FBI believed Miles DeBoard did it, but belief isn't a conviction, and the Pacific Ocean doesn't give up its secrets. The lead weights, the renamed boat, the forged passport, they outline the shape of what happened even if we'll never hear the words. What do you think went on during those 7 days of silence? Tell me below. This comment section always has the sharpest theories. And if this kind of case grips you, the ones where the crucial data just goes dark right at the moment that matters most, we covered another one, Ayrton Senna, a black box, a void in the telemetry right at the moment of impact. Click here. I'm Unsolved, Sports Edition. Thanks for watching.